employee of Tennessee Tech and a Golden Eagle through and through. He is committed to helping make a positive difference in the world, and I know that for a fact. Whether it be pastoring or mentoring or coaching or working in community groups. Rob, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here. I hear those things and I wonder who they're about.
That's not true. Now, thank you for co-hosting with me.
Sure.
We also have Dee Prince is coming up here in just a few minutes. Dee is a WCTE board member, and we're excited. We're going to share more about Dee when he gets here.
Yeah.
I thank you for joining us at Live at 5. This is an important day. Tell me about Juneteenth.
Well, Juneteenth is the celebration that commemorates the freeing of the slaves. 1863, we know, was the Emancipation Proclamation, but it was 2 years after that that the announcement came in Galveston, Texas, by General Granger that actually signified the freeing of the slaves. And so June the 19th every year since then has been deemed Juneteenth, the official freeing of the slaves.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm sharing this. I'm not paying attention to Rob. I'm just sharing it on Facebook because you can watch live on WCTE on Facebook and on our website.
Yeah.
And we want them to feel free to ask questions or make comments. And, and this is also an important celebration in our community, and we're going to learn more about that when we come back. But stay with us as we bring you more Live at 5.
I was raised to believe that all men were free. But kind of growing up, I've seen that has shifted.
There were scenes on television where people, were sprayed down with hoses. They were attacked by dogs. Children were being bombed in churches. I saw this as a part of, life for blacks in America.
I had to have a very frank and a very difficult conversation with my 14-year-old about just how society and other people may perceive him.
Just got to be careful in this world, especially if you're African American.
It's often very frustrating and demoralizing.
I am recommitting myself to fighting against the policies and systems that have caused harm in black communities.
Because I dream that one day, no matter what happens, I know that always we are stronger together.
Now's the time to make our own history.
American Portrait is a very important program on PBS. It's viewer contributed content. We are actually hosting our film festival, Downtown Film Festival, coming up in August, and you can submit one of those 1-minute portraits to PBS and then enter it in the film festival.
Great.
It'll be really cool, won't it?
Yeah.
Just answer one of the prompts. Go to American Portrait at PBS and you can learn all about it. Tell me some things that might be happening with Juneteenth this weekend. Maybe there's some things happening, Rob, that would be very cool to talk about.
Sure. Yeah. So for several years now, Impact Cookeville, that many of our viewers will know about, has coordinated and hosted the Juneteenth celebration. It takes place over in West End Park on the west end side of town. Typically, there's good food.
Yes.
There are games and activities for young ones. There's a little conversation about what Juneteenth is. And one of the highlights is we have been giving, really awarding students of color that have excelled at Cookeville High School or in local high schools, seniors that are preparing to go to college. And so we'll be doing that tomorrow. But it's a little bit scaled back this year.
Because of COVID.
That's correct. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it'll be from 10 a.m. to noon.
That's
Is
right.
that right?
10 to noon tomorrow. People that are comfortable can get out of their vehicle and mingle around. Of course, physically distancing and maybe wearing a mask. But you can also drive in, like many of our churches were doing several weeks ago. And we'll be, a peaceful recognition of some of the folks that have recently passed away, George Floyd, Ahmaud Asbury, folks of that nature. But yeah, it's going to be great.
Juneteenth is something that you do every year
in
our community.
Yeah,
right?
We do it every year. And it's not just a black event. It commemorates the freeing of slaves, the true emancipation of slaves. But it's a great, diverse event.
Yes.
We typically have our city, A lot of our city officials come. Mayor Ricky Shelton always supports. County Executive Porter. A number of folks come and participate and have a good time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I hope you'll support that tomorrow. If you're
Yeah.
in town, go by West End Park and support Juneteenth here in Cookeville and Putnam County.
Yeah.
You know, Rob, what does Black Lives Matter mean to you? I know that's a big question.
That's a big question. It really, to me, is a voice for the underrepresented, the black voice. You talk about slavery. Blacks were enslaved for hundreds of years, and really, we've only been out of slavery for 160 years or so. Right. So, by some historical accounts, slavery existed for twice as long as we've been out of slavery, if not longer than that. And so the voice of black folks has still sort of been diminished in a lot of ways. I mean, and so to me, that's what it means, just the voice of black folk, if you will, not that all lives don't matter, but just the voice of black folks that can be diminished in our country still.
I heard Henry Louis Gates Jr. speak, and he has had so many wonderful documentaries, and he also has a weekly series, Finding Your Roots, on PBS.
Yes.
It's a great series.
Yes.
He mentioned just that you cannot know America's story without knowing the African American story, because it really is. If you look at starting in the 1600s,
yes,
in the beginning of slavery in our country, before the country even became a nation.
Yeah.
It's a huge story.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. It is. And, the country was not just built by white landowners.
Right.
It was built partially, as we've heard, proverbially on the backs of black people and slaves.
Right.
And so we've got to acknowledge the history of black people as a part of the history of the United States.
Yes,
Yeah,
and we want to remind you that we are on Facebook, on our website, on WCTE Live, and we encourage you to ask a question of Dr. Rob Owens, Tennessee Tech. Tell me your title at Tennessee Tech.
I'm the interim vice president for student affairs.
That's awesome.
At Tennessee Tech.
And you're doing such a fabulous job. How important is Tennessee Tech to the Upper Cumberland?
Oh my gosh, economically it's huge. We feel it in the region when Tennessee Tech students are not here.
Yes.
This is why we want to navigate COVID-19 and get our students back to Tennessee Tech.
That's absolutely
because we feel it when they're not here.
Oh, I know. We miss you guys. We want you back. Anxious for that campus to open back up and our community to embrace you, our whole region to embrace you, really.
Yes.
Rob, we want to celebrate black-owned businesses in the Upper Cumberland.
Sure.
We have a whole list of people that we just want to celebrate you and thank you and recognize you. If you want to share just some of those, we're putting up a list of those right now for you to acknowledge and know about.
Oh my gosh. There's one that just jumps off the list that everybody knows about. That's John's Place.
Of course.
And Miss Mary Alice McClellan. But she is not the only black business owner.
Right.
Contrary to popular belief, there are a number of them, maybe 50 something, I think, that are on this list, and I had no idea.
Right.
It spans the gamut from hair and beauty to food and drink. Caribbean Cafe is a new place as well over at Premier Park Medical Center. Clothing, cleaning, lawn care, photography. Shaquana Wester is a photographer, does a lot of work with Highlands Residential Services. Tyrone Carver, of course, we know him as a local DJ.
He does a great job.
Yes. And one I got to mention real quick, Sky High. The jump place over in the old Cookeville Mall space, but over beside Central City Church, they've been impacted because of COVID-19. But that is one that I think is really going to have an impact on our community to have a jump place here in Cookeville. Yeah.
And there's services, there's construction, home improvement, venues, events, auto detail and retail, auto salesmen.
Yeah.
And then lots of black-led congregations. And you have a congregation, right?
Yeah. Our congregation is not predominantly black. We're multi-ethnic.
Okay.
But I'm black pastor, so I think that's why I made the
right.
list.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, just a rich legacy, really, of black business led by John's Place, of course.
Yeah. We want you to know that, and when you have choices to do business, we want to support minority businesses as well as all of our businesses.
Sure.
But we definitely want to recognize and celebrate and support.
Sure, definitely so. I'm really, to be quite honest, I'm just amazed by this list.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
That will be on our website. So if you want to go back and refer at a later time, WCTE.org. We'll have that for you to look up those black-owned businesses. Really excited about that. All right, we're not going to go away. I think are we close to time that we need to take a break? Oh, we still got a minute.
Oh, cool.
What do you think about that? That's
no,
good.
it's exciting. This is exciting for me in a community where we have such a small percentage of blacks, Hispanics, to see this many business owners. That's progress,
Yes.
I think, in a lot of ways. We'll do a little shameless plug. I have a middle school son who has just started a lawn care business. So next year,
That's right.
you see a young man that has a flyer with the last name of Owens,
That's it.
let him
right?
come and do your lawn care.
That's great.
Yes.
That's great. That is good. There's nothing shameless about that. That's an important plug. Rob, what's something that you would really like folks to know about this moment in our region?
I love Cookeville. I love the region. Heard Mayor Shelton say that it's a city on a hill, quoting from the Bible a few weeks ago. And I would love to see our city unite and not be divided right now. Yeah, especially with the intensity of what's going on in our country.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Rob will be back with us in just a few moments. We're going to bring Dee out here, so don't go away. Stay with us at Live at 5.
My name is Lisa. And
Switch out.
now is the time for us to realize that we have a generation of kids before us who have known nothing other than police brutality. I'm not saying this is any different than the 60s, but so for generations older, I'm not discrediting what you experienced. I happen to be 52. My children are 24, 20, and 17. They have witnessed, whether through the media, social media, television, print media, so many murders at the hands of police who I have tried to train them are their friends since they were little kids. Now is the time to wake up, to acknowledge that we have let our kids down. Now is the time to stop with the excuses, to stick to the narrative of getting rid of white supremacy. The foundations are so far rooted in this country that it has affected everybody. In fact, I would go so far as to say worse than COVID right now. It is a virus. White supremacy is a virus, and it is spread throughout this country. And the foundation needs to be dismantled now. Now is the time.
All right, we're so excited to have with us Dee Prince. Dee is dad and a great citizen of our community. He's on the WCTE Board of Directors and has been super active in the community on Impact, on the Cookeville Multicultural Advisory Council.
Yes.
And you are the program director of UCHRA and CASA, right?
Absolutely.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, so it's a job that I just started back in April, and the CASA program stands for Court Appointed Special Advocates, and what we do is child advocacy, giving a voice to the children that are abused and neglected.
Oh, that's such important work. And I want to remind folks that we are on Facebook. We're on our website. We're also bringing you live coverage from WCTE. How important in PBS's commitment to this whole topic of Juneteenth, but also Black Lives Matters?
It's an outlet for some of the things that are going on socially, especially in your local area. When you start thinking about a lot of people in the community that may not have streaming services, the ability to get the Hulus and the Facebook Lives and things like that, they've got an outlet with WCTE to get their news, get their information about what's going on locally.
Right.
Yeah.
What does Juneteenth mean to you?
Juneteenth is so important. Of course, with being with Impact Cookeville for the past 9 years, we've had the Juneteenth celebration, and it's a great educational source for those that might not know anything about Juneteenth. I see on social media now and people in the community saying, well, I didn't know anything about Juneteenth. And here I am thinking to myself, well, we've been involved in it for 9 years with a citywide celebration. So.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
It's very important to know your heritage if you're Black, and to be able to understand how this came about with the Emancipation Proclamation and how it's affected us moving on as citizens, as Black citizens.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, I appreciate you so much, and I appreciate the wisdom you bring to our conversations.
Right.
How important is this topic for the Upper Cumberland region?
So I know many people feel that they've grown up with some of the local African Americans in the community, and so it's not a big deal to them. But I think the most important thing that's going on now with race relations in America as a whole is understanding what it could be like or what it is outside of this area that we live in. It's almost like a bubble. Nothing's going on here in Cookeville, so we don't have to worry about that. But there might be some unconscious things that you may not know about that may offend some of your multicultural or people of color
Right.
friends. So.
Right. You know, I've heard that, Dee. I've heard it about friends of mine who are Asian American.
Absolutely.
Over COVID-19, I've heard
Yes.
discrimination about that, and also things about Black Lives Matters with friends of mine who are African American.
Yes.
And we have such a diverse population, thanks to Tennessee Tech, and so many people
Absolutely.
who want to live here.
Yes.
And it is a wonderful place to be. People are loving and caring, but it doesn't mean that we can't do better. We
Absolutely.
can always do better.
Yeah, we can always do better. One of the things that I've always said is not trying to make bad good, but trying to make good better.
Yes.
And I think that goes along with relationships and dynamics that you may have within the community. One of the things that I encourage people to do is to make sure that they know about their local leadership, and make sure that they know what's going on locally at home. And these things, these issues that affect us, you'll be able to have a better understanding of those things. I think that what's going on right now, especially with Black Lives Matter, I think that we have a lot of people on the other side that are not people of color that are doing more of the listening to respond rather than listening to understand.
Right, right. Hey, we've had a question on Facebook, and this is great. So
Okay.
I'm going to ask you this question.
Quiz time.
What can people do to help with Black Lives Matters, and how can we educate ourselves?
So let's tackle the second half first. In order to educate yourselves, make sure that you're asking someone who is African American about what's going on. The thing that I love with some of my white friends is that they've actually sat down, had lunch with me, and said, tell me what's going on. Tell me how you relate to the situation that happened with the George Floyd situation. Really quickly, I mean, he and I were both Black. We're both 46 years of age, but tight with our brother, have families. So those are the things that that people should be listening to understand why it means so much to somebody who's African American. The other part of that with the education portion is I encourage people to understand or try to understand and try to learn about Black Lives Matter, what the theory is behind it, what exactly is its purpose and meaning to do. Do that together. Right. Because there may be some things that I don't know about Black Lives Matter movement that maybe you don't know as well, and we can learn together.
Right. Dee, did you grow up in this area?
I didn't. I can say that I did. I came to this area when I was 18 years old. Of course, I'm a military kid and lived in places such as Oklahoma, California, and Italy, and New York, of course, where I originate from. But I do feel a closeness with Cookeville and closeness with this area and wanting to call it home.
Yeah, well, we're glad you're wanting to call it home.
I love it.
How important it is for minority voices to be active in politics. I know you ran for office.
I did. I ran for county commissioner in District 7.
Yes.
It didn't go the way that we wanted it to be. It was a difficult time in my life as well. I had a lot going on personally. But the thing that I loved about running was it gave me the opportunity to go and meet people where they were at. I was running for county commissioner, a representation for the district that I was in, which means my neighbors and the people that I was around.
Wow.
It was so much fun because I got to go and knock on doors and see people and meet people for the first time, which was awesome.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Hey, can you share some of the content that PBS is having on right now about racism in America?
Sure. So two of the most important things that stuck out to me was the Reconstruction of America, and that is so intriguing to me because it's primarily about the end of slavery and getting on with America after slavery, and of course Black people seeking their righteous place as citizens in this new world after the Civil War, and then of course with the Black Panthers, the Black Panther movement, the documentary on the Black Panthers. People kind of look at it as a radical movement. These men got together to become a radical movement, but there was so much more that they did, such as feeding underprivileged families, as well as providing resources for them for what they needed, job readiness and things of that nature.
That's absolutely right. And there's other content right now that PBS has on at the African Americans Many Rivers to Cross. I've watched. It's Henry Louis Gates. Unbelievable.
Yes.
He's also coming out with a new series called Black Church.
Yes.
That's going to be phenomenal. And of course, as you mentioned, Reconstruction will be on in early July.
That's right.
All of these can be seen though on pbs.org streaming. And you can catch them on the air as well. Anything you want to share before you pop off?
I just want to say what a great time it is for all of us to be together. I want to make sure that people are aware that we have great Black-owned businesses around, and they're striving and they're doing the same things as these other businesses. So support local businesses, Black-owned businesses, and I love WCTE. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thanks for being with us, and thanks for being on the board.
Absolutely.
We appreciate your service.
Having
fun. We'll be back in a minute with Rob Owens.
So I have 3 Black sons, and what keeps me up at night is thinking about their safety, thinking about how the world may view them automatically when they see them just because of the color of their skin and that they're a Black male. I think that Black males have it the hardest in the United States of America. And so I want the world to view my children the same as I view them, which are God-fearing, caring, loving, hardworking, intelligent young men. I have instilled in my boys, morals and values, and I want the world to see that. I don't want them to be judged just because of the color of their skin. I want them to have the same opportunities. I want them to be viewed as human.
All right, there's another great clip there from American Portrait on PBS. I encourage you to go to the website and check that out. And create your own content. You can do a 1-minute video, submit it to PBS at American Portrait, answer one of those prompts, and there's a lot. And then also enter it in our film festival coming up this summer.
Wow.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, you've got some budding superstars that are watching right now.
Just waiting. I know they are, so do it. Hey, if you have a question, we want to hear from you. Please ask via Facebook chat. Rob, what's kind of burning on your heart right now as we get ready to hit the weekend?
Oh my goodness! If you don't know about Juneteenth, or this is your first time hearing about it, just do a little research on it. We'll be celebrating the 4th of July pretty soon here in a couple of weeks, and for mostly all Americans, that is when we think about the freedom of our country.
Right.
Independence Day, and I was reading the Declaration of Independence earlier, but Juneteenth is a significant part of our history as well. So if you didn't know about it, please do a little research on it just to read a little bit more about it. That's one thing. And the other thing is just love. there's a lot of side taking right now.
Right.
The best healing comes through love. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing that I would want to communicate right now is we have really got to work on loving each other.
Yeah. Right. And seeing each other as humans. Just erasing all that other stuff, all those other labels, all that other, just seeing each other as human.
Yeah, the Impact Honors Banquet this past February, and some of you viewing have attended, I'm sure. Miss Linda Irby was one of the honorees. Yeah. And she said something that really resonated with me, and I think it's a good point for moments like this with civil unrest and hurt and pain. She said a lot of what we need to do to be successful as people, as adults, goes back to things that we learned on the playground as kindergartners. And one of the, this is a bad paraphrase, one of the things that comes to my mind that she said is that you just treat people like you want to be treated. And, we learn at an early age that we're supposed to think about other people. We need to be doing that now.
Right. That's the golden rule,
Yeah.
It really comes down to that. It's just to treat people the way you want to be treated, and we'll all be in a better place.
That's right. That's
right. I do want to make sure that we respect that this is Juneteenth today.
Yes.
It'll be celebrated in our community tomorrow.
Yeah.
From 10 to noon.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
cool. Everybody's welcome. Come out and be a part of it. It's a peaceful opportunity to celebrate and share and be together. And love each other, as you've said.
Yes. Yes.
I want to share one thing. It is a holiday in 45 states. It's recognized, and in D.C., but it's not a federal holiday yet. But Juneteenth is really being pushed to be a federal holiday. How do you feel about that?
I think it should be because there's a good percentage of our country that we're not free.
Right.
In the 4th of July, we recognize and have 1776. And so I think particularly now, in the given context of what's going on, when we talk about Black lives valued and all of that, I personally think it should be a federal holiday. It was funny, I was thinking about that earlier on the way in. Yeah.
I think there's lots of conversation about that, and so we would welcome hearing from you. I think, PBS celebrated today with closing. WCTE, that was announced earlier this week. Yeah. We're looking at it for 2021, and so we really want to encourage folks in our region to think that through. Are we leaving? Are we leaving? Are we coming back, Noel? Are we leaving? Out of here?
No, this is great.
Okay, well, we're out of time. We're also going to post, we've got a diversity inclusion that we're going to a pledge for WCT. We'll be posting that on our website. They're going to make us go. We got to go. But thank you, Rob. Thank you all for joining. We'll see you next time on Live at 5.
Racist cops have got to go! Hey, hey! These racist cops have got to go! Hey, hey! These racist cops have got to go! Hey, hey! These racist cops have got to go! Hey, hey! These racist cops have got to go!
Thank you for joining us at Live at 5. Be sure to tune in next time for additional updates on communities throughout the Upper Cumberland. From one neighbor to another, WCTE PBS is here for you.